Every investor has this moment where the deal feels like it might fall apart. What has been the most stressful moment you've experienced in a deal, and how did you navigate it?
I've had quite a few deals fall apart. The most stressful was the 6 unit in St. John. The seller was very straightforward to begin with, that no extensions, and 36 hours before closing, financing fell through. The bank just scrapped the file out of nowhere. We were all good. It was at the lawyers at that point. Looking at it now, I'm happy that it happened because it really gave me a different perspective on things. I was trying to find a private mortgage and like, can you close in 36 hours? That's kind of crazy to even ask for it. And then negotiate with the seller, which was, you could say, maybe arrogant.
If you've ever wondered how real estate investors actually build their businesses, not just the wins, but the setbacks, the pivots, and the lessons in between, you're in the right place. Welcome to Let's Talk Real Estate Investing, where we have honest conversations about what works, what fails, and what you need to know before your next move. Hi, I'm Debbie Balfour, real estate investor and investor success coach. I help real estate investors fund their deals through a relationship first approach by building a pipeline of qualified investors who are ready to say yes to your next opportunity. Each week, I sit down with investors and industry professionals to unpack their journeys, key turning points, and practical strategies that you can apply right away. So let's talk real estate investing.
Most investors don't start by saying, I'm going to build a real estate portfolio. They start by chasing income or flipping a property or trying something that doesn't even feel like investing yet, more like a hobby. And then one day something shifts. Today we're talking about that shift from doing deals to building strategy, from flips to multifamily, from reacting to thinking long term. Joining me is Yiannis Tsantilas, whose journey began with flips before he even realized he was investing in real estate. After reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad and Grant Cardone, he jumped into his first sixplex in St. John, New Brunswick, a deal that came with plenty of lessons. Since then, he's evolved from contractor and flipper into multifamily focused investor, bringing real world construction experience and hard earned mindset growth into every opportunity. Yanni, welcome. I'm excited to unpack your journey. When you look back at your journey from flips to your first sixplex to focusing on multifamily, what were the key points that shaped how you decided to invest and how you think about like risk today?
Thank you, Debbie. I started with flips, and at the point, I really didn't. I was just chasing income, just like you said in your introduction there. I was just trying to make some money, and after doing our first home, adding a basement apartment and renting that out, then okay, let's do this again. And then we figured out that we can't qualify for a second mortgage, so we just went the private way, started doing some flips, and didn't even realize that we were real estate investors at the time.
Just felt like you were on one of those HGTV shows.
Yeah, you could say that. You could say that. My wife was taking all kind of pictures and videos and whatnot. We weren't posting at the time, which maybe we
Mhm.
should have, right? But we weren't in the right mindset at the time either, right? We're just trying to make some money and make some extra money here and there. The market was good for it too in the GTA as well, right? Oshawa and Durham area at the time. And then I started reading a few books, like Rich Dad Poor Dad was my first one, like for a lot of people too. Then I read some more of Robert Kiyosaki, and then Grant Cardone, like some of his books. And I kept hearing about multifamily, multifamily, multifamily. And where it really changed is like Grant Cardone was saying, go big or go bigger, go big or go bigger. And for me, from duplexes and single family home flips, I thought, hey, I have to go bigger. Jumping into a 6 unit at the time was like mind blowing. I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I did, but Turned out I didn't really underwriting and everything was proper, but till you actually get to do some things, it's the real life experience is totally different. And it actually happened in the sense that I attended a real estate event, a conference, and I sat next to one of my very good friends now, Steve Mills. And we were chatting. First time I met him, and he kind of asked me what markets I'm focused on. And I told him New Brunswick. He's like, "Oh, I'm investing in St. John and so on." And then we had it a little bit more. We had another meeting later, and then he was like, "Hey, like I can recommend you to my realtor." And he had a few deals on the go. Showed me a couple of them. We did all the walkthroughs with the realtor, property manager. Everybody was set up, and that's how we landed the very first deal, the 6 unit in St. John. It definitely wasn't an easy ride. I However, now it's stabilized, and we've been able to add value substantially. We're already over 100% in value from all the capital that we put in. Just with some lipstick renovations, very small upgrades, and turning around a few units, we were able to increase the NOI. And with that being said, in a year, we are already over 100% in value from our capital, not the building itself,
Would
which
you
is
say
awesome.
would you say this deal is the one that's forced you to level up?
Most definitely. Because I looked at it in a sense that with 6 units, we increased the NOI in 1 year. We've made all of our capital back. We're refinancing at year 3, so we'll be pulling out money. And then I just saw the power of it. If we can do this with 6 units, imagine if it's like 12 or 18 or 20 and or 40 and so on, right? And that's where the mindset shift really happened. Once we stabilized this building, and now we just have to look for something bigger. So
Mm.
I don't know if I will look again at a 6 unit for the reason being that it's a pretty good deal with the numbers. When we have 4 units, we're breaking even. So anything over that is good. But I think the headache is the same. Either it's 6 or either it's 12.
What would be that mindset, that overall mindset shift that you would say that you had going from flips versus now multifamily? What's the shift that you had to take?
Yeah. So definitely it's the long-term thinking. Flips is active income to begin with. As to with multifamily, there's definitely a lot of work as an active partner and being the managing partner. And I think a lot of people have a misconception on that. Even in this building, I had to fire the property management in the first 6 months and then get a new one. So this was a good life experience as well. I do have a capital partner in this one as well, and I thought it was going to be a very tough call to make, and it was quite the opposite. Like I got the feedback that, hey, we're very happy that you're actually staying on top of it. And that was such a relief. But going back to the mindset, I think it's all a numbers game at the end of the day. When I look at it, it's economies of scale. 6 units or 60 units with 2 vacancies right now, we're breaking even. But I would rather have 2 vacancies and not even like be bothered about it,
Mm.
right? And from the flipping, it's way riskier. We're talking flipping single family homes. I see a lot more risk because you're very market volatile, especially in some markets like Toronto. To borrow a million on private money, that's numbers get out of hand real fast. And it's definitely scary when the market starts taking a dip and you're midway through your flip and you don't know if you're going to make it. And with these numbers, it becomes really scary for me, at least.
You had a background in construction.
That's right. Yeah. So I started in construction as a laborer. Then I was a carpenter with the local 27, which is the carpenters union. I was in high rise concrete in Toronto, and then after that I started my own company, and I've been at GC ever since.
So, do you ever get into the hands on doing work?
Yeah, I still do, not like I used to, but every now and then, even with our home builds that we do now, I partner with a good friend of mine, and we do some custom home builds together. There's always some gray areas, between the trades and whatnot. So every now and then, there's some stuff that, yeah, I still like put my pouch on every now and then.
It must be hard to resist because when something's not being done right, or you want to just jump in and fix it.
Exactly, right? And that's our job to begin with, right? To make sure that everything goes according to plan. And sometimes we just have to accommodate, because we cannot always wait for the trades to come in time. The job has to keep going, and then that's where we jump in.
Well, it's good to be able to have that knowledge and skill so you can, so that you're not depending on those trades and time is ticking. As you
Yes, of
go.
course. That's like, I think that's very big to have that skill set, and that's why I want to start transferring that into real estate, more in the management side of it, right?
Every investor has this moment where the deals feels like it might fall apart. What has been the most stressful moment you've experienced in a deal, and how did you navigate it?
Yeah. I mean, I've had quite a few deals fall apart. The most stressful was the 6 unit in St. John. The seller was very straightforward to begin with, that no, and 36 hours before closing, financing fell through. The bank just scrapped the file out of nowhere. We were all good. It was at the lawyers at that point, and yeah, that was not a pleasant experience. But I'm looking at it now. I'm happy that it happened because it really gave me a different perspective on things. I remember at that time, like, I was trying to find a private mortgage, and I'm like, "Hey, can you close in 36 hours?" So that's kind of crazy to even ask for it. And then I had that thought, let's just go and negotiate with the seller, which was, you could say, maybe arrogant. I don't know at the time, to just think that you can negotiate. I was on a call with my realtor and my lawyer, and we're like, okay, let's tell them that, hey, we need 3 weeks extension, and we I was willing to send more money. And by that time, just to be clear, whatever money was in the deal was my personal capital. There was no risk from my capital partner, any money yet in the deal. Whatever was in the deal, that was all my capital. So I was just risking my own money at the time.
Mhm.
And we called them, and we're like, we can send some more funds, and we can pay all the utilities and whatever is has to do for the next 3 weeks. The property management will pay all of that. We'll take care of that. And my lawyer actually called them, and he started the negotiation with that. He didn't even start with that we're gonna send more funds, just to prove them that we're serious. He just went back. It will pay all the expenses for the next 3 weeks. And if you really think about it, you guys going back into the market and this deal falling through, it's not going to look very good on you either, because everybody's going to think, oh, there's something wrong with this building because it's been under contract for 90 days and now it fell through. And that's what happened. We didn't end up sending any funds. We signed a letter though, saying that if we cannot close by that time, then we're walking away from the deposit.
Okay.
And then my mortgage broker, he got a hold with a different lender, with another bank, and we closed on time. It was not an easy 3 week period. I can tell you that much.
You must have lost some weight and some hair in the
Oh,
process.
yeah. And sleep, and lots of sleep that I lost. Yeah, it was a very bumpy ride. One day we're up here, then the next day we're down here, and it was such an emotional roller coaster that. But I'm happy that I got to experience that, because it's definitely a good experience to have. Well, good experience to have it under my belt, not a good experience for anybody to have that experience.
So what did it teach you and that you're going to do differently next time?
It taught me that things happen, and they never go our way, no matter how good we underwrite the deals, no matter how protected we think we are. There's always something that can happen, because I never found out why the bank scrapped the file in the first place 36 hours before closing.
You do any risk mitigation now? Do you have a backup? Um,
Yes. Yeah, yeah. That's probably the biggest thing when it comes to deals like that. There's always a backup just in case, anything happens. That's the risk mitigation. For risk mitigation, also when it comes to underwriting, we always underwrite with higher interest rates. But when it comes to that, yes, we always do have like another lender as a backup. And I actually had this conversation with a good friend of mine, and he told me that the exact same things. Like always, I do have a backup lender.
Excellent. For people out there, add this to your risk mitigation plan, add this to the things that could happen, and make sure you're having a backup. And even maybe a backup for the backup. You never know. But
Yeah.
have that in place because as you can see, it does happen. And you're not the exception. I've spoken to so many real estate investors that similar things have happened.
Yeah, exactly. So I came to find out later that this is not uncommon. And even I remember that when this happened, I was on the phone with my mortgage broker and he was so calm. He's like, hey, don't worry. Like this happens all the time. And I'm like, how could I not be worried?
Yes. And for mortgage brokers out there that may be listening to this, I think it's important for you to make sure that your clients are aware that these things are possible and help your clients to mitigate it before it happens.
Yeah,
I think that's
exactly. Cause
important.
it's definitely different if you have it at least in the back of your mind that, hey, potentially this could happen. At least you're prepared for it. But I definitely wasn't prepared.
So, if you had to narrow down what is the most important thing in real estate investing, what would you say? Is it mindset? Is it execution? Is it relationships? Is it risk management? What actually moves the needle?
I think it's all based on a relationship. Real estate is a relationship business. It's all about networking and building the right team and building with the right people. I think that's what it comes down to is your network. Once you build a great network, the deals come and go, but the people are always going to be there. And as long as you have good people on your side and a good power team, I think it's always going to be fine. Like deals come and go, but people that stay by your side, that's the most.
And when we're talking relationships and your network, it's not just people who will invest with you. It's like it's your bank. It's the trades, it's the mortgage brokers, it's all of those people, it's the city, people at the
Exactly.
city, building those relationships.
Yeah. I think the team is the most important thing, and you need to have everything in place, all your ducks in a row. Your realtor is super important. Your lawyer, your accountant is a very, very important person. Every single one is important in their own way. The deal is as strong as your power team because, especially when it comes to managing, if you're managing the managers, especially when you're investing remotely, you're not there. You can't see what's happening. So having that great property manager, having that great realtor, having those good trades, that's very, very important. Yeah.
Definitely. And for people who are partnering with you, I think that's the most important thing to find out about not just you, but find out about your team. When
Definitely.
problems happen, it's not just you that's solving it. You're going to need to rely on your team.
Most definitely. And anytime I partner with people, I make sure that they understand that there is a good team in place, that the systems are in place. We're not just, hey, let's just hire somebody from Kijiji or something like, it's we have trusted people, a trusted team in place. The money partners, they're equally important. However, I think like the systems is number one. Systems and the right team in place is what's the most important thing when it comes to real estate investing.
How do you go about building relationships?
Yeah, that's a great question. I always like to have several meetings with people. Usually they come referred. There's going to be a referral. And I also travel down there to meet everybody in person. I want to meet people in person because from Zoom, sure, you get a good conversation. However, I like meeting people in person because I want to kind of feel the vibe that I get from them. A handshake is never going to change. Zoom is great.
That energy, you just can't get
Yeah,
it unless you have
exactly.
it.
Any market that we've ever tried or we focusing on, I always like to travel there. I might not even look at a deal. I just want to go meet the people in person. Because if we do have a great team in place, then I don't have to go look at the deal.
Yes, they can look for you because then you understand their skill sets. You understand whether this person sees things the way you do. You're able to assess all those things, like what are their skill level? Do they have the same values as you do? Do they understand the market through the same lens that you're looking at it?
I think is very, very important that there is alignment. When I talk to people, I like to kind of set out my goals and my vision, and I really want to have that alignment with them. I want all of us to be going the same direction because if we're not, then sometime down the road, we're just going to have to part ways.
Yeah. So what's next for you, Yanni?
What's next? We've been actively looking in the US. So we want to expand in the US market. That's one thing. Florida for sure is in the list there. So we build our team there, and now we're actively looking to start with flips there
Oh,
because it's a market that we can support that. However, flips I mentioned earlier is not our bread and butter. Multifamily is the long term, but again, we don't want to start with huge projects or any bigger projects. We want to kind of get our feet wet with some flips, and as soon as we're ready to go, then we're gonna get rolling on multifamily.
I really like the strategy you use, Yanni, in that you're balancing both flips and multifamily. So they're both really good strategies, but they do different things. So the flips, like you said, for you, it's getting your feet wet there. It's also providing you with capital in the US. That's what flips do. It's to generate the capital.
Exactly.
And then you can reinvest that capital into the multifamily, where then that capital keeps replenishing. It keeps growing and compounding in interest.
Yes, exactly. You hit the nail right on the head. That's what we're trying to do. That's our long-term plan. We want to start the flips, and then we want to start rolling that capital right into our next deals in the US, get into that multifamily space there. Again, nothing wrong with Canada. I love Canada. I'm always going to be investing in Canada. Even now I'm working on a couple deals still in Canada. However, I think we're going to shift the focus a little bit to the US just because it's a different market. Its population is like 10 times the Canadian population. And,
Yeah. Well, there's the saying for professional real estate investors, you go where the investment is best,
numbers make,
where the returns are best.
yeah,
And you
exactly.
definitely in the US market, it's definitely way more appealing than here. You have less regulations, you've got better taxes system. The money to get in is lower, but the rents are higher. So definitely
Yeah.
getting more cash flow.
Yeah, there's many benefits to that, especially with the exchanges. Now you're making US dollars, USD, and then you're deferring the taxes when you roll your capital over to the next investment. This is a huge thing. And just the write-offs, the tax incentives that you get, especially in states like Florida, and there's other states too. There's lots of states that you
Texas, I
can
think, is another one.
the capital gains. There's many benefits in the states, and at the end of the day there's also the part where in states the capitalism is a little bit different. People are more open about mortgages and money, and there's so many creative ways, there's so many strategies to do in the states that we don't have available in Canada. Exactly.
So, Yanni, if someone's listening to you today is where you once were when you first started, maybe they're doing smaller deals, maybe they're unsure of about scaling, maybe they're still trying to figure it out. They would like to scale, but they're unsure of what to do or where to go. What's the one thing you wished you understood earlier in your journey? And what would you tell the version of yourself today?
Number one is network. Like just network, get in those rooms, get around people that are 10 steps ahead of you, 100 steps ahead of you, whatever that is. Get around people that are where you want to be and just ask questions these people. And when it comes to multifamily, I would say understand cap rates. Once you understand the math behind cap rates and how multifamily actually works, it's a game changer. That's what changed it for me, right? Because I was thinking duplex, triplex, and then once I understood cap rates, I was like, okay, I can't go back.
But yes, when it comes to multifamily, just being able to minimize your expensive, reduce your expenses actually increases the value of that property.
Yeah,
Right.
so
Not
that's
just cash flow, but it actually increases the actual value.
exactly that's one way that we actually raised the value in St. John at the 6 unit. What we did is we changed all the toilets. That cut our water bill in half.
Wow.
Just by doing that, we increased the NOI.
So looking for those. And as you said before, systems, putting systems and processes in place also help to reduce expenses.
Exactly. And again, systems and having the right property
Mhm.
manager that stays on top of things and doesn't let things go.
So, Yanni, thank you so much for sharing your story, the growth, the stress, the shift into multifamily. I know that's going to resonate with a lot of people. And for being authentic and sharing that this wasn't all rosy and there are things that could go wrong and things that did go wrong. Before anybody clicks away, I want everybody to do two things for me, please. Hit that like button to this video and hit the subscribe, because the investors who win long term are those who keep learning from people like Yanni, who are actually in the arena. Every week, I bring real conversations, real strategies, and honest lessons from investors building wealth right now, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So don't miss the next one. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode. Stay strategic, stay visible, and keep building wealth with intention and purpose. Thank you so much for your time today, Yanni. I really appreciate it. Thank you for sharing with the audience your journey, that they can be inspired and learn from you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Debbie.
You're welcome.